Alrighty folks, welcome to the show. A little bit late tonight. Just had a message literally as I was about to go live. Welcome to the show, Wayne. Thank you very much. And as always, I will start the show by making a massive thank you to all of my third tier and above patrons, starting with Reese and Wayne, and also to Tim as well. Without you, these shows wouldn't happen. It's as simple as that. So, and if you want to help support the channel, feel free to have a look at the links in the description, and I think I've put them up in the chat as well. So, Wayne is already with me tonight. Thank you very much for joining me. In fact, discussing Patreon, and that he can now carry on. You can't wait as you're itching to paint your my Fittic Blight Hauler. That's it, and the Bloat Drone, which I'm looking forward to getting painted as well, actually, at some point. But this week we're all about the Conquest issue number 12. And you might notice I've already took the cellophane off of this packet this week because I thought, well, I might just take the wrapper off. I haven't actually read it. It's still exactly, I literally opened it up, slid it onto the table and left it where it is. I thought it would save the rattling of the plastic. So we'll get cracking on with that in a very short time. But while you're here, don't forget to jump in the chat, say hello, and we'll have a talk about anything you want, specifically about Conquest on my Monday night shows, but it can be about anything you want. And don't forget, as always, viewer models are welcome. Use the hashtag BofOPS, that's BofOPS Live, and BofOPS Conquest. And you can put them on any of my social media. Let me know who you are and what it is. If it's a Conquest model, put Conquest on it. And if it's just anything that you've got going on, if you're working on something, or if you just want to just show it off and see it there, just like Reese's one there. Look at that, that's a towel. That's not Conquest, but it's still there. I'm not sure what's going on with that image. I might have to remove it and go on. In fact, it only literally seems to be cycling through the two images tonight, so that's... oh no, it is going through, there we go. But yeah, so feel free, if you want to see your models going on there, feel free to pop them on there. You'll get a shout out on my Instagram story as well while I'm at it. So feel free to do all that. I'm not really sure I've got any other kind of notifications to do. Oh yes, I do. Don't forget, while I'm here, that's a rubbish camera. That is upside down. I'll get there eventually. There is just over a week to go to enter the competition to win the Painting Handle XL. I'm still not 100% sure exactly at what time of the day that competition is going to end, but it will be Boxing Day. So don't forget to have a look at my previous videos and find the huge thank you and 100 subscriber giveaway. And find that video and just watch through it, and it'll tell you exactly how to enter for your chance to win that. I'm really looking forward to getting rid of that as quick as we can. And we're up to 120 subscribers, which I'm really thrilled to bits with. That number has just gradually been going up over time. And after just 5 months of doing what I'm doing, I'm up to there. So I'm massively, massively chuffed with that. I'm not quite so sure why, and as usual actually, before we get into the show proper, I do realise that once again my numbers, you know, who's watching, isn't right, because I know Wayne's with me tonight. You're there. You're watching. So why doesn't it count you? So we're just going to go down on here and I'll press save on there. And that should, there we go, that updates that. There we go, that's nice and simple. We want to bring that up to the top. There's something for some reason, some things have been fiddled around with on the computer here. There we go. Let's move that around. I don't know what's going on there, but some things were fiddling around. So there we go. Right. I think that's pretty much everything I want to cover at the beginning of the show. So without further ado, I just want to get my phone ready just to be on the safe side of keeping an eye on what's going on there. And we can have a look at this magazine this week, which is issue number 12. Conquest magazine with the foul blight spawn in it. Now, I'm really interested in reading this because I absolutely, we get into a point now where I actually have no idea anything about Death Guard other than they're Plague Marines and they follow Nurgle. So I'm interested to look inside this magazine just to generally just see what's going on with the Death Guard. And also, not only do we have the foul blight spawn, but we also get one of these fancy see-through 12-inch measuring sticks, which I'm pretty chuffed with. I like this. This one is from the Dark Imperium box set. I don't know if they did them anywhere else other than the Dark Imperium. So, if anybody else knows where these come from, feel free to give me a shout. The plastic ruler was a surprise, as I had not seen anything mentioned about it anywhere. Honestly, no, I hadn't until the magazine was released out in stores. Obviously, people had seen them, once they were released in stores about 10 weeks ago now. Yes, I had seen them, but yeah, up until that point, there had been no talk about the ruler, although, like I said, it's from the Dark Imperium box set, so it's not necessarily a massive surprise, because we are getting the Dark Imperium box set as part of this collection, and this was part of the Dark Imperium set, so it's a pleasant surprise, but then when you think about it, it's not so much of a surprise that we've got one. No doubt GW had a ton of Dark Imperium stuff that they just opened up and put them all in these magazines. You saw the magazine in store 2 weeks ago and was surprised by the ruler. Yeah, and I'm quite happy with that. I did kind of want one of these. I've got one for Kill Team. But I like this one. It's much more, it's just black and red. I was looking at this and thought, oh, actually, that looks a bit damaged, but there is a little plastic cover over this. One of those little plastic protections that you can peel off. I think I'll leave that until it gets unsightly, just to protect it from scratches. But it's measured in inches, 1 to 12. You don't really need much more than 1 to 12, unless of course you're doing, unless of course you need to measure range of a weapon. But most of the time you're only moving between 1 and 12 inches, or charging up to 12 inches. So for most of your movement and most of your measuring, that's actually going to be pretty good. So yeah, I like that. And of course we had the blight spawn, which we'll have a look at. We'll get that model together later on in the show. It's not an easy build kit, but having said that, it is a monopose kit, so it will be easy to build. So yeah, that's a mouthful. We'll get to that at the end of the show. You never knew about the thin plastic cover. Well, I mean, it's in fact, a lot of people probably wouldn't notice it, to be fair, until you look at it, because I mean, it is designed to keep it nice and clean. So obviously, in transport, if that's rubbing up against that, you're not going to get scratches all in the plastic. I don't know if it's on both sides. I know it's on the that's on the side that you can read the numbers clearly. Let's have a look, see if there's anything on the reverse side of it. No, it doesn't look like there's anything on the reverse side, so only on the side where you're actually looking at the numbers. And it might actually be protecting the paint over the front, because at the end of the day, You know, that I reckon if you carry on scratching at that, you'll probably wear the numbers off. So yes, the second viewer at the minute is me. Yeah, you don't need to worry about putting that in PM, Wayne. I'm not too fussed. We only have 2 viewers. It's fine. We'll get there eventually. Like we said, I'm not gonna, stress over viewing figures as I used to. We'll get there eventually. So, alright, let's get cracking on with the magazine. And as usual, let's just tear off that front cover, because that's useless. Actually, I do need to get hold of my magazine, my folder next to me. You know, I did see, actually, there was, I can't remember who is it, Rage Against the Dice. He does go through the contents of the magazine and shows you what you got coming in, but I think it's better doing it this way. We come along with it and we see what's happening as it gets there. So we'll find out what's in the magazine as we get to it. So the first bit is the Death Guard Champions, and as always, I'm going to have a quick look through the folder. And I'm going to put the models, God, get my words out properly. I am going to put the pages into my folder as they come along. And if we have a look through, this is actually the very first picture, the very first page. My words are not working tonight. With Death Guard Champions. Which this is Death Guard Champion number 5. So that's interesting to me. I noticed that, as we come along here, it's almost like the folders themselves are actually the part works. Where you're getting a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of the other. It's not until you get to the end that you actually find out exactly how the whole thing reads together. You're not getting these in order. The models are almost a freebie. It's the collection of magazines that's the part works, which is quite interesting, the way I look at it. Am I the only one keeping the front and the back covers? Possibly, yeah. I've been throwing mine away because once they're in the folder, they're no good to me. And the back covers, I mean, yeah, we'll get to the back cover in a minute, but that's just trying to sell you the subscription, which they've already sold me on. So, we got the Foul Blightspawn here. So he's the first character that we've got. He's a Grenadier Alchemist, which is interesting, I suppose. He uses Blight Grenades, Crack Grenades, and a Plague Sprayer. So, these are things I've never heard of before. Like I said, I don't really actually know Death Guard that well. I know of them, I've been around the hobby enough, but... So this is interesting. It looks like this is going to be a really interesting thing to paint here. A tank full of stuff. An incubatum, apparently. So that's going to be an interesting job to paint. There will be a video coming up about how to paint this guy at some point in the future. You're using them for painting reference. Oh, well, yeah, absolutely, you could do. I mean, to be honest with you, I paint in front of my computer. I'm one of the lucky people who have a designated hobby space, or studio as I like to call it. So, my computer's in front of me. I've got access to images wherever I am, whatever I'm doing. I've got screens and all sorts in front of me, so I'm not worried about the space that it takes up. About that, so I can just have a look on the GW website if I need inspiration, or Google search. So I'm quite liking that, actually. And as usual, this is the GW scheme. Almost everything I do is darker and grungier than what GW do. So that's the other reason why I don't use references. I get references for what is something in terms of the material it's made of, but then after that I just make it up as I go along. So Death Guard War Gear number 2. Let's have a look, see if we've got any other war gear written in the... yes, we do. Death Guard war gear number 1 was the Blight Hauler itself. So now we've got Death Guard war gear number 2, which is the Armory, the Blight Grenades, the Biologist Putrefiers. The arcane alchemists known as Biologist Putrefiers are constantly redesigning Blight Grenades to contain newer and ever more deadly forms of plague. That's interesting that they've given us this model today then, because the Biologist Putrefier is an actual, is an actual model, and that is in issue number 15, if memory serves. I have a hobby space, actually 3. I normally watch a DVD while I paint, but I never thought to have my reference material on a screen in front of me. Ah, you see, coming to watch the show, you learn something new every week. What up? Hey, Tim, welcome to the show. You haven't really missed a lot apart from the first page. So, how did you enjoy that video? Tim is one of the lucky ones who gets to watch all of my videos early. Wargamer Viking, welcome to the show. Wargamer Viking is actually going to be doing a video after I finished here at 8 PM tonight. The Great British Paint Off. So feel free, when I'm done here at 8 PM tonight, go and check out Wargamer Viking's channel and give them some support. You may find me on that at some point in the future too. So, where was I? I was talking about Biologist Putrefier. I'm interested at the fact that they didn't give us that model this week. Depending on maybe the rest of the page that this goes, as opposed to the Foul Blight Spawn. But perhaps, when we get to that particular model, it might make sense when we actually read the magazine. So moving on, we've then got Death's Heads. Now this is interesting actually. I've always wondered why they carry a bunch of heads around. And the demons of Nurgle, known as plague drones, are responsible for perhaps the most disgusting grenades at the Death Guard arsenal, called Death Heads. They're crafted from the severed heads of fallen victims. Now that's interesting. I wondered why there was a bunch of severed heads all over the Nurgle Marines. Now, it made sense because, severed heads are disgusting, they're going to decay. But I didn't realise that in the fluff here, they're actually grenades. They're biological grenades, which is interesting. And then moving on to, we have a specific unit. Well, not necessarily specific unit for the game, but at least a certain type of rank, I suppose, is the Grenadiers. So there is plenty of fluff about who the Death Guard are and what they're doing, which is interesting, and more different colours of contagion. Now, let's have a quick look, shall we, at the at that page, because this is one that tickles me, because this page has been given to us how many times now? I think it's about the 3rd time we've seen this page, and each one of them are pretty much exactly identical as the other ones. Interesting to see where you're going with your model, Tim. Is that the Blight Hauler? You're liking that? I can't bring this out because I'll show it here. This is the Blight Hauler that we've been doing. Well, the first part of this is public for all to see, and all of my Patreons have seen up to this point now, or at least they have the ability to see it. So there we go. I do like doing a much more grimier version of what GW do. It's still pretty much the same colours, just much more dirtier. How are we all doing? I'm doing very fine, Wargamer. Thank you very much. And you're welcome for the shower. Not a problem at all. They are totems. Oh, is that the severed heads? They're totems, are they? I think as well, but don't quote me. Need to read your codex again. Fair enough. Great, just getting ready for tonight's show. Prepping your grot. Is that what you're painting tonight? Is it Viking? You're painting a grot. Alright, so we're going to move on to this. So here we go. This is what we're talking about. Colours of Contagion. Now, it's really nice of GW. They're giving you especially with the Death Guard, which are pretty much a single faction, as opposed to a Space Marine that has lots and lots of chapters. The Death Guard is pretty much one whole legion, and it's been broken up into these warbands. The only downside is, and I've said this every time this Colours of Contagion part of the magazine comes out, there is actually no real way, way that you can kind of discern in what order you want to put these into your magazine. And I don't think it really matters, to be fair. It does put a little bit of a spanner in the works now that I have 3 different pages now of the Colours of Contagion. Oh, that's interesting, because I've actually got some pictures on the back here rather than some more. Hang on, let's bring that into shot. We've got those and some more colours here. It does bring in the fact that I very much doubt that I will be going through all of the different Nurgle colours, because there's 2, 6, 8, 12, 14 different colour schemes going on here. I very much doubt that I will be doing a model of all 14 of them, I'm afraid to say. So that's yeah. You've not seen it yet, Wayne. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. It's coming along nicely now. We're going to see the where a new that model will be finished hopefully in another video. So the icons of Nurgle. Now this is interesting. So everything about the Nurgle that we've seen so far is all about the fact that they've got these 3 circles. Or even though isn't that number 7 for Nurgle rather than 3? I think it's actually written in here somewhere in one of the pages. But we got some information about Death Guard Legion number 6, so we're building that up quite nicely. Although they've skipped number 5 by the looks of it, for that so far. So we got the icons, which no doubt are some sort of, what have we got going on here? Oh, the original iconography of the Death Guard was the 3 skulls, was it? Which is kind of cool. I mean, I imagine you'll try and feed it. Maybe you'll get some, maybe find some transfers somewhere, or perhaps paint those onto tanks and things to change regular models into Nurgle type-esque ones, or maybe even with the Blackstone Fortress. Perhaps you want to, if you buy that and you've got the Chaos Renegade Guard. Maybe some of them follow Nurgle and you want to sort of add some of these into those. So this is what you can do with the fluff, isn't it? You can just build up and build up and build up all of your own bits and pieces. So the Death Guard, how to build the Foul Blightspawn. We'll get to that in just a minute. But I'm interested, that's literally only 1 page. Look at that. There you go. He's going to be really simple to put together. So we'll get him done in a short while. But then moving on how to paint them. Again, we're still not priming our models, which is a little annoying. But I suppose they don't want to tell you to go out and buy more stuff if the whole point of this is to have everything all inclusive. So let's have a look at this. Let's move over to the painting section as well. Painting Death Guard 6. Which will be right at the back after the light drone. Where is it there? How to paint him. We've got, what do we need? We need Death Guard green, of course, the Abaddon black, Retributor armor, lead belcher, and carrying on with the lead belcher, shading with Agrax, shading with Nuln Oil, and the finished model, which is very, very simple. Oh yeah, we've got some Bugman's Glow to add onto there as well. So there we go. I'm quite, I don't think necessarily that they're teaching you how to paint wrongly. It's just the way that these magazines are coming out, obviously a bit at a time. you don't have all the paints available to you, so I can see they are going to be very simple. I think it's just going to be a case of now we just have to kind of wait to see what the once you've got all of the paints available, what kind of standard are they going to show you how to paint. But, you know, we'll move on from that. And we move on to the mission itself, which mission number 10, Spread the Blights. Wow, talk about stacking the odds here. What you'll need: the Death Guard player will need a foul blight spawn. The Space Marine player takes the Reavers, the Intercessors, and the Lieutenant Calcius. Jeez, that's stacking the odds somewhere somewhat in the favour of the Space Marines there, isn't it? What do you have to do to win? What do you need to win? It doesn't even say, does it? Let's have a look. Does it really say here what you have to do to win this one? This is some extra rules here. Hang on, does it say anything about that's the replay of mission 10. We'll have a look at that in a second. Yeah, it doesn't look like you're even supposed to win that one. It doesn't look like any kind of victory conditions. That's the words I'm trying to find. There's no victory conditions there. It's just a case of just wait until the foul blight spawn's dead. So that's that's a little bit stacked. The theme was grots on this episode. Ah, fair enough. Is there a wrong way of painting them? No. Well, yeah, that just goes into the that just goes into what I was talking about. The new video idea that I've had. So you'll have to wait and see that one. It's not the best way to paint, but hey, GW are making this collection. Wow, yeah, exactly. Leaving the primer out for the moment. Yeah, I have found out each mission is a straight fight. The replay of the mission gives you victory conditions. Ah, fair enough. So pushed you to replay it. Right, and I have literally just noticed that there seems to be a bit of a typo here. Unless, see, this is tutorial for mission number 10. Last week, Fire and Fury was mission number 10. So you might want to watch out for that one. Because, I mean, it does go through. It says down here, with their poxwalkers temporarily cleared from the cargo deck by the Space Marines' bolter fire, the Death Guard have decided to send forth the foul blight spawn. So there is a little bit of a fluff leading on, I imagine, from the previous mission, but it's definitely a mission after what was on. You only found that out as my sons are asking to play most of the missions. Ah, good for them. Good for them. I think I will do, you know, once we get to the end, I think I will actually follow through with my idea about doing a series on this magazine and how it teaches you to play the game, and maybe even it might even get me back into the game. So skipping back into the folder a bit, we've gone from the missions at the back into the tutorials. So we come to the back here, and after tutorial 13, which is teaching you about automatic hits, we have got strength and toughness. So this is where it starts bringing in, rather than it tell you that you need to use it's telling you exactly what you need to roll here. It's going to teach you how to wound, which means, I do know, I have seen somebody do a video, and I can't remember off the top of my head who did it, But we are going to start seeing some proper data cards coming through soon. Rather than these things here, we're going to start seeing the proper data sheets coming through. So they're teaching you the how to actually wound and actually do the math for yourself, as opposed to having the magazine tell you exactly what it is you need to roll. And they've started painting a little bit. Fantastic. I did see a picture on your Facebook actually about you guys playing, so that's brilliant. And then moving into the replay of Mission 10, which technically should read Mission 11. I'm surprised I hadn't actually seen anybody mention that on Facebook about the typo that's going on there. But set up your Foul Blightspawn and 12 Poxwalkers. And the Space Marines get 3 Aggressors, 3 Reavers, and Lieutenant Calcius. How to win. Protect the bomb for 4 rounds or eliminate all enemy models. And the Space Marines just need to destroy the virus bomb within 4 rounds. Which is kind of cool. Oh, this is interesting down here. Sending the Foul Blightspawn's Plague Sprayer is lethal, but you need to get close to use it. Use the Poxwalkers to block enemy fire. Essentially, have the Poxwalkers create a screen so that you can't be shot at, which is quite funny. And then fact box header. That seems to me, look at this. This seems to me, don't you think that that looks like a bit of a space holder for when they're actually building this? They didn't proofread this, did they? That's why that was left as a file when they redid this, and they didn't change the 10 to an 11 when they were doing the next issue. And that's just a spacer. That's a placeholder for when they're editing this magazine together. Lazy sods. There we go. Let's see. It's supposed to have a what's it? God dear. That's quite interesting to me, more than annoying. Because I mean, I'm not too fussed about it, but that's just funny. Oh dear. So we got some extra rules anyway. We got Unholy Death's Heads. These filth-filled grenades are crafted from the withered and rotten heads of fallen enemies. Once per battle, roll 2d attacks with a blight grenade instead of 1d6. Oh, roll 2d6 attacks instead of 1d6. Oh, that's interesting. I've never heard that rule before. Revolting Stench, which then reduces enemy units that have charged and are within 7 inches of this model in the fight phase. Do not fight first because they stink, which is brilliant. And sergeants in your units. This is interesting. Yeah, the sergeants in your units, they're giving you the extra attack rather than just keeping all of the members of the squad the same. Yes, we are, and I can tell which issue it is if you want to know. Yeah, which issue is it that has the data cards in it, Wayne? I think it's... Is it the next one? I can't remember. Or is it... No, it's the one with the containers in it, isn't it? I think. Or is it the one with the dry brush? I can't remember exactly which one it is. Hopefully they will spot the typos and rectify the mistakes. We'll see. Someone has had a visit to his or her chef. Alright, and as usual, the back page is about subscribing to the channel. And then next week we have a cargo container. Yes, number 13, brilliant. We have a cargo container, which is brilliant. I'm really looking forward to doing that one, actually. And I do have it. It's right here. It's up on my shelf, ready for next week's show. So I am looking forward to that. Well, we'll see about next week's show. I will talk about the Christmas holiday soon, actually, shortly. But yes, cargo container. It's really good. And I've got some fantastic painting. The trouble is the painting that I do with a cargo container, I do need an airbrush to use. So we'll have to see how that goes. And then issue number 14 in 2 weeks' time, we get some Mechanica Standard Grey and a dry brush. and we learn how to dry brush, and it looks like we're finally going to start highlighting the models with a Mechanica standard grade dry brush. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Now's the time of the show. It's 7:05. You've done your container as your boys wanted it made. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, feel free. Yeah, jump in. I tell you what, though. I mean, it's fantastic terrain. I do like the. Is it me, or is the new terrain better value for money than what they used to be? Or is it just because I've been buying Kill Team all the time that, you know, I haven't noticed that I've been paying terrain costs? I do remember that the old terrain just seemed like really expensive, whereas this new terrain seems to be cheaper. But then, having said that, it could be that, yeah, because I'm doing a lot of Kill Team, that the terrain that comes with that is really good value. Let me grab my clippers and my knife. Could I paint the container with lots of dry brushing? Right, here we go. So I'm gonna give something away in a minute. Hang on. Look, I went out this weekend and I went and bought myself something, which is another Kill Team. I went out and bought the Writhing Shadow Kill Team box. Let's put it the right way, because I'm going to start a Tyranid Kill Team, as well as the Death Guard Kill Team, the Space Marine Kill Team, the Admech Kill Team, and the Genestealer Cult Kill Team that I already have. So in that box I get 2 extra containers. So what I'm going to do for this channel is one of these will be done simply, and then I have, not only do I have the cargo containers from the Conquest magazine and an extra one here, I'll be painting those up as I normally would do for myself. So yes, one of the containers that I do will be done on the channel, which will be done nice and simply and kind of in the way that Joe Blogs will be able to paint it. And then I'll do another one where I do lots of salt weathering and airbrushing it and all sorts of things like that. What's Writhing Shadow? Writhing Shadow is the Tyranid Kill Team box. It's one of the it's another Kill Team expansion where you need to buy those to be able to get all of the cards to play Kill Team with. And I just noticed there's a massive lump of plastic on this base, so I'm just going to scrape that off. So, you love that idea. Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, I want to do lots and lots of videos, and there will be lots and lots of videos coming. It's just a case of we need to wait until we can, you know, it's just a case of time, basically. You know, I'll get through as much as I can. As my patrons already know, there is some aberrants. There is an aberrant video being made at the same time as now, which is a commission that I'm doing, and so we'll get through lots and lots of other things. I've got a Genestealer to do for myself. That's part of my Genestealer cult kill team. And then I have I've got an entire Death Guard part of the Dark Imperium, which we're also going to get with Conquest, so they'll be getting done at some point. You're not into Kill Team yet? Still on the fence? Well, when I start coming back to the club, probably after Christmas now, after the New Year, you'll start seeing that I will have Kill Team armies galore. I've got loads of the stuff now, and I'm collecting all the cards and all the stuff for it. And those of you who have been following me, well, actually no, the patrons know this, but my what's it guys don't know this. I went out and bought the Commanders expansion pack for Kill Team as well. I tell you, I am hook, line and sinker in Kill Team. I kind of wish the GW would give me a sponsorship for Kill Team, because I am hook, line and sinker for it. I think I will get the Pathfinder Kill Team. Go for it, absolutely. You know, if you like Tal, go for it. I mean, you know, like I keep keep saying to everybody I talk to when it comes to Kill Team, and I will shout it from the rooftops, it is the best possible game if you're not into 40k, but you're kind of on the fence about 40k in general. Buy Kill Team, because you get a really nice idea about what 40k is all about without having to go out and buy an entire army to play. If you're thinking about starting a new army, buy Kill Team, because then you can have a rough idea about how an army plays. Now, Kill Team's not perfect, of course. Nothing is ever perfect on this world. And, you know, for argument's sake, if you wanted to start a Blood Angels army, you won't be able to find out how well Blood Angels are or how Blood Angels feel, because Blood Angels as a faction doesn't exist in Kill Team, but Space Marines do. But the other thing as well is, if you're one of these people who just likes having lots of different models, and you just like painting perhaps, but don't really settle on a whole army, again, buying into 40k is expensive. You have to buy an entire army to play that. If you're just a casual player who, you know, can't afford an entire army, you just want to dabble. You know, in tabletop, you don't have access to a game club very often, so you just want to dabble here and there, and you just like painting. Again, Kill Team, because you don't have to buy a ton of models for it. You just you pick up a box of troops, paint them up. There you go. You're good to go. You know, a couple of months later, you think, well, I kind of like these guys, but they're not doing really well. A couple of months later, you go out and buy a different box of models, either of the same faction that you can use with them, or an entirely different faction. And you could go out and you can invest in Kill Team over the space of years. But from the very first box of troops you buy, you can play the game. You know, you try spreading the cost of 40k over the space of, you know, months, years. You'll never do it. So yeah, if you can't tell, I like Kill Team. I love the thing. You know, when I first started 40k, you know, I had the cash to be able to, you know, to get into the game. But, you know, Reese will tell you, you know, I was stuck in my ways. I was a Blood Angel player, and that was it. I wasn't going to do anything else. It was Blood Angels or nothing. But I think the simple fact of the matter was, you know, I started with a Blood Angels battle force. That's what I could afford at the time, and I couldn't afford to be running simultaneous armies. It was a case of, yeah, I'd bought into Blood Angels and I had to stick with it. Whereas when I look at Kill Team, I literally have you know, Gene Stealers, the AdMech. Now admittedly they both came in the Kill Team box, but I got Gene Stealers and AdMech. I've started a Death Guard Kill Team. Admittedly, most of those models come with Conquest. I have a Space Marine Kill Team, and I'm about to start a Tyrannid one by buying the Tyrannid Kickstarter box. I've got 5 armies simultaneously, and I've been able to spread the cost. So you are selling me on Kill Team. Well, I can see the advantage of it, and I would also give me a chance to paint other minis I've never painted before. Exactly. That's the point. You know, that is possibly the biggest seller for me. Admittedly, it's not perfect system, because it's certainly in ways of looking at that, because you wouldn't necessarily be able to paint all of the models you might want to for Kill Team. Such as, for argument's sake, I really love the Eldar Flyer. What's that called? The Razor Wing? I love that model. I think it's a gorgeous looking flyer. But if I ever bought it, I wouldn't be able to play with it, because it can't go in Kill Team, and I don't have an Eldar army to go with it. But with that being said, if I ever get an urge to paint some Eldar models, I can nip out, grab myself an Eldar troop box, whatever the Eldar troops are called, and yeah, I've got myself an Eldar Kill Team, just like that. So yeah, I love Kill Team. Now you're going to see me use a different product than I normally do. I'm transferring from the Citadel plastic glue to the Tamiya extra thin cement. I'm going to give this a try. Oh, I've never used this. It's the first time I've actually. This will be the first time I've ever opened this pot. But I've seen other people use it, and they say it's a fantastic way of gluing, due to the little brush that it's got, as opposed to the tube that keeps getting stuck. So, in this video, or in this stream, I'm going to use that and see how this works. So there we go. We're just going to add a little bit of glue around to there and put that back on there. It smells lovely. I love the smell of plastic glue. There we go. I like the idea of painting one squad of orcs, Eldar, Guard, etc. to see if I like them. Absolutely, yeah, definitely. Now, admittedly, to get all of the rules, let me just grab it. You know, it's oh, ow. Here we go. Let me get my paraphernalia box down. To get all of the rules, all of the missions and stuff, you have to go out and buy all the boxes. Okay, and if you want to buy, if you want all of the rules for the different armies, let's have a look. All of the, for argument's sake, all of the tactics, you have to go out. These are the Tyrannid tactics. I've got the Adeptus Mechanicus tactics. They came with the Kill Team box. So to get all of the rules, you have to actually go out and buy the specific box for that particular army. But if you're not necessarily worried about the rules, or if, for argument's sake, wink wink Wayne, you know somebody who has all of the rules for that specific army, then yeah, you just go out and buy a box of troops. And then you know, when you're playing against somebody who has the rules that you would need, if they've got the cards that you need to see, then you just say, oh, can I borrow them for this game? And there you go, you've got them. Or you just ask people to send you pictures. Not that I would condone such a thing, but you know, it's an option. Let's have a look. Where's part number 6? There we go. Right. Actually, speaking of painting orcs, I do want to get their box for Kill Team, because I would like to go back to my orcs. I did paint some orcs in the past, thinking just before, I think it was just before 8th edition dropped. I had got so sick and tired of 7th edition and my Blood Angels that I nearly gave in the towel completely then. And tried to see if I wanted to paint an orc army, because I just thought, well, if this game was getting ridiculous, so I may as well look at my army in a ridiculous fashion and just not take it too seriously. So I started some orcs, but I got through a squad of knobs and then kind of gave up on them altogether. And then 8th edition dropped, and I thought, oh, Blood Angels are cool again. Well, more to the, it's not that they're cool again, but Blood Angels were playable again. Unfortunately, since then, 8th edition has just put me off altogether, so. Kill Team needs more DACA. Kill Team is pretty much all DACA. Yeah, I mean, you haven't got any massive guns that are going to do a ridiculous amount of damage, but then if you think about it, you try and put a las cannon up against a troop choice, you're pretty much going to muller them anyway. It's not really the point. In previous iterations of Kill Team, they did have vehicles. I do know that 7th edition Kill Team had rhinos, or more to the point, you were allowed to take a vehicle as long as the different armor faces, when you tallied up the armor values of the vehicles, that didn't exceed 11, I think it was. So we'll see what happens with Kill Team in this edition. It might be nice to have a vehicle or two, although the boards are very small, so how they would do that I'm not 100% sure. Right, so clean off that little dude there. Grab my little... Well, actually, we need to dry fit it first. Make sure it's going to fit nicely. There we go. Lovely. I do like this little thing actually. It's a nice little... You just touch the little brush to it, and you put the plastic glue exactly where you want it. Seems pretty good. One of the things that people say about the this Tamiya glue, as opposed to any, you know, even the Revel one, rather than, it's not just a GW thing, it's the Revel squeezy bottle of plastic glue, is that that tiny little tube keeps getting clogged. Now it's easy enough to unclog it. You just get a lighter and you just burn the end, and it just a little bit of fire and just burns it away. But I can definitely see a disadvantage of that when you've got, you know, little kids around. I mean, yeah, okay, this stuff, it's definitely got a smell of something in it, and you don't want to be having kids breathing that stuff in a lot. But I can definitely imagine, you know, you're letting your kids sit there and use some of that with supervision. But maybe perhaps not wanting your kids to see you unclogging a tube and then try and copy you with what you do by unclogging the tube. You know, this is a nice stable, it's not going to tip over. So as long as you're just watching what they're doing with the little paintbrush of glue, I definitely see an advantage to using the this stuff as opposed to the GW stuff. I thought it was an orc thing to say. Well, yes, orcs always want more Daka, don't they? But yeah, orcs have got a lot of Daka in Kill Team actually. Apparently the burner boys are the better ones to take in Kill Team. Apparently, burner boys and perhaps looters. I think that was the meta. We'll have to see what happens when I get round to doing the orcs for Kill Team. Has anyone found the GW thin plastic glue gets thick and then won't go through the tube? Personally, I can't say that I've ever found it goes thick, but I do get sick and tired of fighting with the tube and you know, lighting the end of it and trying to clear it out. I don't know if it gets thick. It could be that air's getting into it, which is, you know, making it go off. Possibly, but I don't know. I personally have never found the glue getting thick. I just find that the tube just gets so clogged up, and eventually it just, there's no point in keep fighting with it all the time. Right, so this is going to go on the end there. So I'll have a look. I'll just add a little bit of glue to that, like that. Like that. There we go. Look at that. Oh, I'm loving this glue. This is fantastic. There we go. That's brilliant. I like that. It smells lovely as well. You have one like that, so how do you unblock it with a lighter? You literally, no word of a lie. You get your... Here we go, I'm going to set fire to the house now. You've got your tube. Now, is this... This isn't doing too badly actually. It's not clogged. But if I can find my lighter without pulling my studio apart, there we go. We get the lighter, and you put the tube in there, and I don't know if you see that caught a little bit, but then if you squeeze it, it'll you can actually clear it out with the lighter and just run the lighter along the what's it there. Obviously it will get hot, so you know, just bear in mind. And you just heat that through, and then it'll just clear up. It'll burn away. It'll literally set fire to the glue that is clogging the tube up. Obviously you don't want then to have the glue upside down and just fueling the flame. But yeah, it will clear out the glue, and you just give it a squeeze. Keep squeezing it. Let the air pump through in and out, and it just clears it out. It's just that personally, you know, after a while, even then, you just keep fighting with it. It's just annoying. And like I said, if you've got kids around and you're clearing out your plastic glue, you're teaching them how to put the models together, and your plastic glue gets clogged, so you get the lighter out and you start setting fire to your glue. And, you know, obviously, you know, you supervise your kids, of course you do, but, you know, nobody's perfect. You turn away for 5 seconds, you've got a kid who's got flammable glue in their hand, playing around with a lighter. It's just an accident waiting to happen, really. Whereas, you know, like I said, using this stuff, you know, obviously, you know, grown-ups, you know, do it however you want, but with this, you know, there's no lighter required, because that's not going to get clogged. It's so big. It just seems to be a much better system to me. That glue dispenser is trash. It certainly has its uses. I mean, certainly it definitely does. I mean, you're trying to, you know, this is a bit like painting, you know, with a brush on the end. You try and get a perfect application with a brush. Mistakes can happen. You can slip. With that, it's very, very fine. It has an absolute very fine detail to put a tiny drop exactly where you want it. It would have its uses, but you know. Can you post links in the chat? No, you can't. Although I do believe you can ask for permission to do so. If you just bear with me a second. What is it you want to post a link for? Is it your video? Let's have a look. Let me think. Is it that one there? I think that one. Yeah, there you go. That's how that works. And if it times out, just give me a shout and I'll do it again. All right, okay. Give me a second and I'll do it again. I'll tell you what you do is get your first one. If you get your first link ready to go, and then I'll give you permission. In fact, Wayne might be able to give you permission actually, if he can figure out how to do it. If not, I can do it here. Alright Tim, I'll catch you later. There we go. there we go. Let me just show the other one. It allowed you to do your first one no problem, and then the second one just needed acceptance. You think you've done it, Wargamer? Yeah, it's fair enough. Yeah, you as a mod, Wayne, you've got abilities to allow what's it? I just won't allow all sorts of links to go in there. Otherwise, I'll end up having all my streams full of spam. Right, so this is the other thing as well, actually, is if basically you can always post your link in the chat, and all it'll do is it'll just hold it for review, and I can either allow it to go through or yeah, Wayne can let it go through. I've tried to keep, actually considering, you know, things holding for review, I've tried to keep everything as free as possible. I don't want to start stopping people from posting things. So people have the ability to post whatever they want. It's just that YouTube will occasionally flag something up if they feel it's necessary to flag it. And that way it stops people thinking that I'm censoring them, but still allowing a certain level of moderation. Righty ho, so this guy is almost finished. I got one more piece left to do, I think. No, I got two more pieces left to do. Part number 7. Jesus, this is a tiny piece. Wow, I've got to try and clean this off without slicing my fingers open. Right. Glue on there. Wow, this is really small. Wow, what is the point of that? Jeez. Sometimes I wonder when they put some of these parts in these kits, it's like, why could you not have found a way of keeping that connected to the model? Righty-ho. And then finally we have 2 feet. I love this model. I made mine without the mag and I love him. Yeah, absolutely. He's a fantastic looking model. Just pop that on there and then put the little nurgling dude on there. I'm curious about how my way of painting is going to bring these nurglings out. They are very comical looking parts of these kits. Snip that tiny little bit of flashing off there. Well, that little, I think it catches the air actually. Little run off so that it doesn't so that the plastic can fill all the tiny little holes. Yeah, I am curious. My way of painting tends to bring these things out to be very grungy and dirty, and maybe a bit more serious than GW's way of doing things. And these tiny little nurgling things, they are tiny little happy little fellas. So I'm curious to how that will turn out. I don't think I've done a nurgling yet, so we'll see how it goes. And we'll pop him on the other side of the base so that we can still get all of our painting done. There we go, and there we go. So it's definitely going to be an interesting model to paint, especially with this kind of tank that's theoretically that you can see into it. So I'm going to have to do some thinking before I do the how to paint tutorial on that. But we got there in the end. We got to the end of that one, as opposed to last week when I did have to skip building the models because just generally it just took too long. I can't wait to paint him. Never thought I would say that about Character Mini, as I've always slinked away from painting characters. It's thanks to Will I'm happy and confident, but give him a go. Brilliant. That's what I like to see. You know, base of operating painting studio for the win. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, it comes down to what we were saying in the Patreon chat when I kind of realised what my niche was, and I think people will agree and possibly understand where I'm coming from. I think the videos that I'll be bringing out, as much as my Thursday night show when I'm doing things like Gabriel Seth here, you know, I'll push the boat out and I'll really give it my, you know, professional go, you know. But I think the videos that I'll be making are more along the lines of, you know, how to make good looking models for everyone to paint. You know, just everyone can do it. You know, lots of dry brushing, because anybody can dry brush as long as you do it right. You know, base coating, layering up the washes and stuff, and just generally just cutting the corners where you can to make really good looking models. You know, and I think it comes back to when I did this one, which was the speed paint and Reaver with in 90 minutes. Now that model looks good enough to be on a tabletop, you know what I mean? It was 90 minutes. I blasted my way through it. But on the whole, you know, you could paint an entire army that way, and spending a little bit extra time than trying to just burn your way through it, you could probably make some really decent models and a really decent looking army when using, you know, very simple techniques like I have been with this video. And you'll see the next one on Friday, where we get the what do we do on Friday? I think the next one is doing the metallics, and you're just generally, you know, using nice and simple techniques where cutting corners where you can and layering up washes and not get too hung up on the details. You know, anybody can make a decent looking army. You know, it depends on where you're looking, where you're coming from. You know, are you wanting to win a golden demon with every single model of your army? Then, well, you could if you wanted to go that far. But I think there is a distinction. I think there's a lot of people get hung up between the difference between, you know, award-winning painting and decent painting for the tabletop. I think there does seem to be, I think there's a little bit of miscommunication with which is which. You know, I think a lot of people, especially new players to the hobby, they'll come in thinking, right, I need to learn how to paint. I need to learn how to be as good as everybody else so that my entire army is, you know, cabinet worthy. And I think there's an issue, but at the end of the day, I think it's a case of, you know, with the way that I'm doing the videos that I'm doing, it's kind of, yeah, you could probably put your models in that cabinet, and as long as they're all together, you can look over your entire army and go, yeah, they look pretty good. You know, you hang out, if you decided to kind of pick this up by itself and study it, you'd probably think, yeah, that's not looking so good. I mean, there's some mistakes to it, and there's some bits and pieces that, well, did you really paint that, or did you kind of skip it? You know, and I think that's the kind of thing, I think that's what I'm trying to show people, is that you could be a good painter, but you don't have to be an award-winning painter. So, I think that pretty much brings us to the end of the show, which is fantastic. It's 7:45. My kids have done nothing but mess around the entire time I've been live tonight, so we're going to have to go bang some heads together. But feel free, if you've got any more questions or comments or suggestions or anything that anybody would like to add, I'm still going to be here for the next couple of minutes, so feel free. Don't forget the Wargaming Vikings channel. Head on over there after we're finished here in about just over 15 minutes. They're going to be doing their new show, which you will see yours truly on eventually. I think me and Wargamer have been having a chat about how to do it, and I think I will be watching at least some of his show tonight. So, because I like to kind of think, oh, okay, how is this format going to work? I don't like just jumping in and, you know, just going with the flow. I don't do that. I don't go with the flow. Well, I do, but that's my channel. So, and don't forget, like I said at the beginning of the show, you've got 1 week, well, just over 1 week, to get your entries in for the Warhammer painting, for the Painting Handle XL. You just need to go and find on my videos the 100 subscriber giveaway video, and a massive thank you. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but have a look at that. The competition will close on Boxing Day. However, I don't have a specific time of that day as yet. If you want to know the specific time, you need to keep an eye on the comments of that video, where I will put a post and I will pin my own comment about when I will be ending the entrance for that. And then I'll do a video drawing that at some point after that. Other than that, oh, I was going to talk about Christmas shows, wasn't I? Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, yep, is me and Reese's. It's our Christmas special kill team game, so make sure you're involved, get in the chat with that. We're going to have a Christmas special game. We have Christmassy kind of decorations, and we've got a kind of a Christmassy idea going on. Thank you to the Patreon chat for that as well. So that will be the last kill team game, possibly of the year. We might not do another kill team game until possibly the 15th of January. So if you want to get in the chat before the new year, make sure you're watching that show. The Thursday night shows shouldn't be affected. I'm looking at a calendar now, which is why I keep looking down here. I've got a show on the 20th, which is before Christmas. The 27th, which is a couple of days after Christmas, so we should be okay. Then on the 3rd, and then the 10th of January. So theoretically, none of the Thursday night shows should be affected. But as always, I would suggest, in the description below, make sure you're following me on all of my social media so you can keep up to date with what I've got going on. Now, the Monday night show. Next week, in 1 week time, it is Christmas Eve, and I've got kids. So, Christmas Eve is probably going to be out. I might not be doing a show next week. Likewise, New Year's Eve, I think I'm actually going to be in Colchester. So again, I don't think I'm going to be doing a show. Which would mean that the next show on a Monday night will be the 7th of January. I don't like the idea of skipping 2 whole weeks without a Warhammer Conquest show. It will let me get a couple of weeks ahead of the magazines, so that I shouldn't have a skip with my next delivery, but that would mean that issue number 13 is going to be another 2 weeks behind the stores. So feel free, we're going to end the show now, but feel free, hit me up on my social media, hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you feel is suitable for you. Give me your opinion. Don't forget, if you're already a Patreon, even $1 patrons get access to the Patreon chat. So if you're a Patreon, you can have a chat with me and all the other patrons, and you can just have a chat and give me your opinion there. You can always find me on Facebook. You can always send me a message on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So those are kind of the Christmas. Keep an eye on social media, and I will keep everybody up to date with what's going on where. But that's kind of where I'm at the minute for Christmas. It kind of crept up on me this year, so I'm not 100% sure exactly what's going to go on when or where. But that's what I do know. Okay, so to Tim, Wayne, Wargamer Viking, thank you very much for joining me tonight. It's been a pleasure. We got a really nice model built. We got a really nice model built, and I'm looking forward to doing his video at some point in the future. Don't forget to keep an eye on my YouTube channel for any more videos in the future, which should be on Friday. Breathe. And I'll be back tomorrow with Reese for our Christmas Kill Team game. Alright, fair enough, good idea. Saves the issues for when deliveries will be behind. That's a good idea, isn't it? But I don't like the idea of having 2 weeks off of Conquest, but if that's the general consensus, then that's probably what I'll do. Alright, but we'll see. But up until then, I will say thank you all for watching this one, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Alright guys, Tara.